It was February 2009, when a woman walking her dog on Albuquerque's West Mesa stumbled upon something strange. A bone protruding from the earth. At first glance, it looked like an animal bone, sun-bleached and dry. But as police arrived and began digging, the truth emerged like a ghost from the desert. It wasn't one body. It wasn't two, it was an entire graveyard. Over the next weeks, 11 women's remains would be unearthed, buried shoulder to shoulder across a half-mile stretch of wasteland. The city of Albuquerque had just met its most chilling secret, the West Mesa Bone Collector, the city of vanishing women. Between 2001 and 2005, women began disappearing from Albuquerque streets. Many were young, Hispanic, and struggling with addiction or sex work. To police at the time, they were high-risk lifestyles. But to someone else, they were prey. They vanished quietly. A friend last saw them at a truck stop. A boyfriend last heard them promise to be right back. No one imagined they'd all end up in the same desert grave. The dig site. Detectives called it the largest crime scene in New Mexico history. FBI agents, forensic teams, and volunteers worked for months, combing the sand inch by inch, uncovering bone fragments, jewelry, and personal effects. The victims were soon identified. Women aged 15 to 32 all had disappeared within the same 4-year period. But one pattern haunted investigators. All were connected to Albuquerque's East Central Avenue, the city's red light corridor. This was organized, methodical. Someone had been hunting them and burying them with military precision. The prime suspects. Police first turned their eyes to Lorenzo Montoya, a local man living less than 3 miles from the burial site. Montoya had a record: assault, solicitation, and violent encounters with sex workers. Then came the twist in 2006. Montoya himself was shot dead after attempting to strangle a woman in his car when the West Mesa graves were discovered in 2009. He was already 3 years gone. Did the killing stop because the killer was dead? Or did someone else take over where he left off? Investigators found disturbing parallels. The time frame of the killings matched Montoya's life before death, but no physical evidence ever tied him to the site. No DNA, no fingerprints, just proximity and coincidence. The second theory. Then, another lead surfaced: real estate development before the discovery. The West Mesa area had been under heavy construction. Could the graves have been dumped during those early bulldozing days, hidden under future roads and homes? Satellite images revealed that some graves matched tire marks from construction trucks active years earlier, but this raised a haunting question. Was the killer among the workers? A truck driver? A developer? Someone who knew the land would soon vanish beneath cement and houses? The caller and the map. In 2010, an anonymous caller claimed to know the killer, saying he had information about where more bodies were buried. He mentioned specific locations, places where police later confirmed soil disturbances, but before authorities could trace the call, the line went dead. The man was never heard from again. And then, another mystery emerged. A map, found in a recovered laptop, showing coordinates eerily close to the burial site. The device belonged to a man with known ties to multiple victims. But once again, no hard evidence, no confessions. The mothers and the memorial. The families of the victims. Mothers, daughters, friends gathered each year at the site. They planted crosses in the sand, marked with names. Michelle Valdez, Jamie Barella, Victoria Chavez, Cinnamon Elks, each cross, a story cut short each name, a reminder that justice never came. Even today, a small memorial stands at the edge of that desert, known simply as the West Mesa Memorial Park. 11 women, one story of silence. Twist, new technology, old shadows. As forensic science advanced, investigators revisited old evidence. DNA traces were retested using next-generation sequencing. Geoprofiling tools mapped likely dump zones, but every lead eventually ended in sand. Yet whispers persist of a network of traffickers operating in Albuquerque during the early 2000s, targeting vulnerable women. Some believe the killer wasn't acting alone, but as part of something larger, darker, and still hidden. The desert remembers. The West Mesa Bone Collector case remains unsolved. 11 victims. One killer, or perhaps more, still unnamed. Each year, the desert shifts, uncovering and swallowing traces of truth. But one thing is certain. Someone out there knows what happened. Someone knows why those women vanished. If you know something, even a whisper, a rumor, a forgotten name, say it, because silence is what buried them once, and only truth can bring them home. Bell, if this story chilled you, hit subscribe for more true crime mysteries that remain unsolved. Speech balloon, drop a comment. Do you think the West Mesa Bone Collector acted alone? Or was it a cover for something deeper?